The boy who fed shadows. The village slept early. The nights were dark, with only a few street lamps struggling to shine. Shadows filled every corner. But if someone stayed awake long enough, they would see a boy walking alone through the empty lanes. His name was Arif. He was 12, thin, barefoot, wearing an old shirt that hung loosely from his shoulders. In his hand, he carried a piece of bread wrapped in an old cloth. People noticed him sometimes. They whispered to each other, "That boy is strange. He walks in the dark every night. Maybe he's not right in the head." But Arif never stopped. He never explained. He just kept walking, always toward the same narrow alley at the edge of the village. One night, a shopkeeper grew curious. He had seen the boy many times and wanted to know what he was doing. So he decided to follow quietly, keeping to the shadows. Arif reached the alley. He knelt down, unwrapped the bread, and waited. Then from the darkness they appeared. 4 street dogs, thin ribs showing, fur dirty and patchy, but their tails wagged slowly when they saw him. Arif smiled, a smile that no one in the village had seen. He tore the bread in half, then into smaller pieces. The bigger half went to the dogs. The smaller half stayed in his hands. "You eat first," he whispered softly. "I'll eat later." The shopkeeper stood frozen, his heart heavy. This boy wasn't mad. He was kind. No one knew Arif's story. His father had died 2 years ago. His mother worked all day for a few coins, washing clothes for other families. Some nights she could only bring home 1 small bread for them both. Nobody knew that Arif often went to bed hungry, but even in his hunger, he saw others who had nothing at all. Not people, not neighbors, but shadows with eyes. Lonely animals that no one cared about. Every night Arif made his journey. Sometimes he had bread, sometimes only old bones or scraps from garbage. But no matter what, he came. And every night the dogs waited, in the same alley, tails wagging, eyes shining in the dark. It became their secret world, a bond between the boy and the shadows. One winter the cold was harsher than ever. Frost covered the ground. The wind cut like a knife. People stayed inside their homes. That night, Arif came empty-handed. His mother had no food that day. His stomach ached from hunger. Still, he came. He sat on the cold ground, the dogs pressing against him. "I'm sorry. No food tonight," he whispered. "But I'm here. You're not alone." They huddled together for warmth. And in that frozen alley, they shared something more powerful than bread. Love. Years passed. Arif grew taller. He moved to the city, working small jobs. He saved every coin he could. He learned how to care for animals. He met people who shared his passion. And slowly, a dream began to take shape in his heart. One day, Arif returned to his village. But this time, he didn't come barefoot. He didn't carry just half a bread. He came with trucks, with cages, blankets, and food, with medicine and tools, and with a plan to build the village's first animal shelter. It took months of hard work. Villagers helped, inspired by his determination. Walls went up. Clean floors were laid. Beds and water bowls were placed neatly. Finally, the shelter was ready. Warm, safe, and full of food. The people who once called him mad now called him Sir Arif. On the opening day, the shelter was filled with rescued animals, dogs, cats, even birds. But among them were 4 old dogs, the same ones from the alley. They were slower now, with gray fur around their faces, but their eyes still lit up when they saw him. They walked to him, tails wagging just like before. Arif knelt down, tears in his eyes. He kissed their heads and whispered, "I told you, you'll never be alone again." That night, the village was brighter than ever. Light poured from the shelter, chasing away the shadows. And the boy who once walked alone in the dark was now the man who gave the shadows a home. They say heroes wear capes, but sometimes they walk barefoot in the dark, carrying half a bread in an old cloth. Sometimes they are just boys who feed shadows.